Good afternoon. Thank you for joining with me today on this week's Growing Together with Christ. And we began last week discussing the 12 apostles. Last week we talked about the Apostle Peter, and today we're going to discuss the Apostle Andrew. Last week we discussed of how the Apostle Peter was brash, how he was undependable, how he was impulsive. But then God transformed him into a man who was submissive to authority. How he was a man that learned self-control. How he was a man that learned humility. He was a man that learned to love. He was a man that learned compassion. And he was a man that learned courage. Today we're going to talk about Andrew. And what I see about Andrew is that Andrew saw the importance in the insignificant, and many things that we would probably consider to be insignificant or small or maybe unimportant. We need to take the time and see those things as being important and see those things as being things that individuals see as unimportant, that we need to realize that God is the author of all things, and He is the Father of lights, and that He gives us every good gift comes from Him. So the first thing that I believe that Andrew saw as far as insignificance is Andrew saw the importance in the individual. And we see that with how he brought his brother Simon to Christ. We saw that of how he was the one that brought the young boy to Christ that had the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes. And then we saw that of how he brought the Greeks to Christ in John 12, verses 20 through 22. So Andrew saw the importance in the individual. See, he just did not see crowds. He saw that these crowds had individuals, and that these individuals were men that Christ died for. I am reminded about the story of a man by the name of Edward Kimball. Most people do not know the name Edward Kimball, but you know of his convert, and that is D.L. Moody. But then D.L. Moody saw the importance of investing in the life of another, and he invested his ministry into a man by the name of F.B. Meyer, who was discouraged over in Ireland. And D.L. Moody saw an interest in him, who then came to the United States, and he preached at one of Moody's Bible conferences, and he encouraged a man by the name of J. Wilbur Chapman. J. Wilbur Chapman then takes a young evangelist and places him under his wing and trains him. And that young evangelist name was a converted baseball player who played for the Chicago White Sox by the name of Billy Sunday. Billy Sunday then invested his ministry into a man by the name of Mordecai I. Ham. Mordecai I. Ham then goes to Charlotte, North Carolina, has a set of revival meetings. And one night in this set of revival meetings, a young 16-year-old boy by the name of Billy Graham converts to Christ. And we know the history of that. Andrew also saw the value in the importance of small things. Let me ask you a question. How many of you take for granted things such as a cup of coffee, glass of water, being able to walk, being able to run, spending time with your family, looking out at nature and noticing the birds as they land on your bird feeder, or something as important as church, being with family? We must remember this, that James 1:17 says that every generous act and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights. With Him there is no variation or shadow cast by turning. Then he saw the importance of modest service. Paul said it right in Ephesians 6:5 and 6, where he says, "Bondservants, Obey your earthly masters with fear and trembling, with a sincere heart as you would Christ, not by the way of eye service as people pleasers, but as bondservants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart, rendering service with a good will as to the Lord and not to man. So let me give you 4 implications. Number 1, be a humble servant rather than being the center of attention. Number 2, be concerned for each individual soul. Number 3, see the importance of the small things in life. And number 4, give God all the glory. Well, God bless you, and hope this is an encouragement to you. And we'll see you next week on Growing Together with Christ.